When you think about going to school, there's this expectation of clocking in, like an industrial age factory, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely. You sit down and you're marked present.
Exactly. You sit in the chair, the teacher marks a little box next to your name, and just like that, you are officially learning. Well, welcome to today's deep dive, where we are unpacking a book that calls this factory model completely broken. It's called The Pramod Effect, GASR 3.0 Global Education Framework by Dr. Pramod Ambadasrao Pawar.
Yeah, and just to clarify that title right out of the gate, GASR stands for Global Assessment of Student Response. The framework proposes, completely replacing physical classroom attendance with a brand new metric, which is holistic human engagement.
Okay, let's unpack this. To actually transform education, the framework argues that we have to first, dismantle how we measure a student's presence.
Yeah, exactly. And the core mechanism driving this whole transformation is what the text calls the 50-point-50 principle.
Okay, so instead of demanding, say, a 75% physical attendance mandate, basically clocking into that factory, a student's entire assessment is split right down the middle.
Right. It becomes 50% academic performance.
Yeah.
So, your standard exams and research.
And then the other 50% is active participation.
Precisely. Meaning things like sports, drama, community service, eco clubs. It essentially takes the painter, the debater, the athlete, and values them exactly as much as the top scorer on a math test.
Which sounds really beautiful in theory, right? But I have to push back here for a second. Isn't this just a logistical nightmare for schools that are, used to the old model? I mean, how do you objectively grade someone on doing drama or helping the community?
Well, you'd think it would break the system, but it's not about creating new logistics. It's really about shifting the lens of what we measure. You grade it using impact logs and rubrics.
Oh, okay. So it is tracked formally.
Yeah, like in Kerala, for example, students don't just attend a reading festival. They actually submit community impact logs. So if a student organizes a village reading circle, the tangible social outcome is graded on a rubric, just like a science fair project would be. What's fascinating here is how this solves the exact logistical nightmare you mentioned by actually looking backward to ancient wisdom.
Oh, wow. So it's shifting from passive absorption to, active creation.
Yes, and the framework explicitly links this dual formula to the ancient Indian guru Shishya tradition.
Right, the teacher and disciple model.
Exactly. That tradition wasn't about sitting in rows at all. It was an apprenticeship in living. You learned by doing chores, debating, and serving the community.
So the framework is essentially asking us to, I guess, digitize that ancient apprenticeship.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it perfectly aligns with modern models, too, like Finland. They didn't build completely new systems. They just simply changed what they test for. They prioritize civic participation and skill mastery over just seat time.
Makes sense. And once you redefine individual engagement like that, the book takes this exact same formula and scales it up, right, to solve global socioeconomic challenges.
It does. It roots this whole idea in the philosophy of monism, which is the philosophical idea that everything in the universe is fundamentally connected as one single system.
Right. And the book pairs this with the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which translates to the globe as one common home.
Exactly. The premise is really that local action is global action.
And the text highlights some incredible case studies to prove this. We already touched on Kerala's reading festivals, but there's also the Barefoot College in Rajasthan.
Yes, that is a brilliant example.
Right. There, villagers, particularly women, are trained in solar engineering, so their community problem solving is their education.
Yeah, it's completely integrated.
So what does this all mean, especially right now? Because when you look at the rise of technology, aren't we risking students becoming, I don't know, even more isolated? Won't AI just pull them further away from this hands-on community work?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the framework actually has an explicit safeguard for exactly that concern.
Wait, really? How does it handle AI?
Under GASR 3.0, AI is relegated to a mere 10% supportive tool. It's used specifically for things like data, analytics, and simulations.
Oh, wow. Which leaves 90% of education to be completely human.
Exactly.
So AI is essentially just the compass, but human community engagement is the actual engine of the ship.
That is a perfect way to look at it. 90% remains driven by human, value-based community engagement. Technology is just the bridge, right? It's not the destination.
I love that. So GASR 3.0 is essentially shifting education from a mechanized system of grades into a unifying force meant to dissolve borders of class, color, and geography.
Absolutely. It's a
And
powerful reminder that education isn't just an isolated intellectual pursuit. It's the pathway to transforming humanity.
well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We talked earlier about clocking into that factory model of life. Well, if your own life were suddenly assessed using the GASR 3.0 framework, where 50% of your score as a human being depended entirely on your active community and cultural participation, how would you grade yourself today?